Hey guys, Ryan from Friesen Built here. This is the first of a series of videos we're going to be doing where we're going to break down kind of ownership of these boilers, best practices according to us, and how to properly maintain this boiler. This particular video is actually going to be regarding the very first flame. So you've installed the boiler, you're ready to fire it up. What's the best practice things to look for, all that fun stuff. We're going to get into it in this video, but in the meantime, this is my star of the show here, the FC48 HD. This is the biggest residential model that we offer currently, but these tips and tricks are universal across all of the boiler models that we have, from the 30, 32, 33, and the 48 here. So with that being said, let's get into it. So you've got the boiler hooked up, you're ready to put a fire into it. There's a few checks you need to go through first. One of the biggest ones is to make sure that there's actually water in the system. So once you've got it hooked up to your lines, it's connected to the house, fill the boiler up with water. We usually recommend rainwater or something softer like that. Make sure your treatment's in there. If you're using an FC48, it's about 1,460 liters. 1,460 liters on that one. And then it goes down from there. So normally one jug of that rust inhibitor is going to treat this guy here. So when you first start it up, throw the entire jug of rust inhibitor into it that you would have gotten with the furnace. With that being said, the other thing to check is to make sure your fittings are all tight, that there's no leaks anywhere in the system. You could also check when you actually fill up the unit, you could look inside there to make sure there's no pinholes or anything like that. We do pressure test these units before we send them out, but double check all your fittings to make sure there's no leaks there. The other one would be your aquastat setting inside the electrical box on the right side of the boiler. My right here, your left if you're facing it. That aquastat from factory is going to come set at 150 degrees Fahrenheit. We recommend leaving it there. We don't recommend touching it at all, because that's going to be the most optimal operating temperature for these guys. So don't change that one, but just make sure if you've got a used unit or something like that, just double check that aquastat is sitting at 150 degrees. The other one would be to make sure that your chimney is set properly, it's unobstructed, it's ready to actually send some flame through, because these guys are natural drafts, so they depend heavily on the actual natural flow of the air going through with the chimney, through the damper door, all that fun stuff. So as long as that chimney is good to go, you've got it securely fastened. With an FC48, you're going to need 8 feet of chimney. It's going to be 2 4-foot sections. There's going to be a little collar that comes with it that solidifies that section there. But just make sure you have an adequate amount of chimney on there. If you have shorter than 4 feet, you might notice an efficiency issue there. With that being said, make sure the boiler is ready to go, and once you've got the water in there, you've done these checks and everything, you're ready to go to throw in some wood and so you're ready to throw some fire in there. What you're going to need to do is make sure you don't load this thing right full. I know with the FC48 you've got a massive firebox, same thing with all the other boilers. They have some pretty substantial space in there. This first fire isn't going to be about heat. It's going to be about expanding everything slowly and properly. There is going to be some sweat inside the metal, so what a lot of people will notice is when they fire up this boiler, they get it up to temperature, there might be a whole lot of precipitation inside the boiler. There might be a pool of water in there. That's going to be from the actual steel itself sweating, and steel is porous, it stores water into it. That's going to be what's happening. It's not leaking, don't worry about it. It's always the first one that will do that. After it's sweat out and it's completely dried out, it's not going to be doing that anymore. But how you want to start this is you want some dry kindling, something small, and what you're going to do is as it builds, you're going to slowly build it over time. So you're going to light that, and then as it grows, throw some more material into it as it slowly gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You're going to want to watch your temperature gauge, this guy right up here. This is going to tell you the internal temperature of that water. This one has an actual thermal probe that goes right into the water jacket itself. So you'll see it has Celsius and Fahrenheit on both there, whatever you'd prefer to read. You want it sitting at no more than 150 degrees. So if you all of a sudden see it climbing over that, that means that there's going to be some airflow getting in there that shouldn't be. So whether the door itself is cracked open, the damper door is staying open, or something like that, those are the only 2 areas where air will actually creep in and cause the boiler to boil over. So with this first flame, a little bit of kindling in there, grow it over time as it's going. This is gonna be a longer burn. This is gonna be a longer time that you have to sit here and babysit it for this first one. But don't worry, after this, the boiler runs on its own. It's a set and forget type system, but this initial one helps you break it in properly, expands the metal the way it needs to and evenly, and sweats out that metal properly so that it's ready for when you throw in the actual loads in there. So after you have a few burn cycles under the belt there, work your way up to a full firebox. And once you're at the full firebox, that's exactly where these boilers are meant to be, is with a full load. They're gonna have the longest burn times with that. They're gonna work the most efficiently, with that particular load capacity. But once you're there, that's where you're gonna wanna stay. That's how these boilers are built. So with that, just make sure that you do your maintenance on it. You're cleaning the ash out, you're putting dry wood in there, you're burning proper stuff. That's gonna ensure that your boiler is gonna last as long as possible. So it's in short, you could say that this boiler is gonna treat you the same way that you treat it. So if you treat it well, it's gonna treat you well. These guys, we've seen them go over 30 years old under proper maintenance and everything like that, and even with thinner steel than what we produce now. And so with that being said, maintenance is key when you do your shutdowns and all that fun stuff, and even ongoing maintenance as you're using it. As the ash bed builds up, it's designed to burn on an ash bed, but as it builds up, clear some of it out of there, get the old ash out, because ash and steel, ash is super acidic, especially if you combine any kind of moisture in there, it's gonna really get at that steel. So just make sure you clean it out every once in a while. There are no ash pans on these boilers, so just scrape it out and start a fresh ash bed. It's not too hard to do that. They are designed to burn that way. So your maintenance there, your ash removal, making sure that every year you're double checking, you're sending your water sample in, especially with our warranty program. The first 10 years, you do need to send a water sample once every single year. So just, it never hurts to do more. You can never really add too much treatment to this boiler. And if you're looking into glycol options too, that is definitely a really good one that we recommend to help bring that pH up there. But you're doing your maintenance, your ash removal, your glycol or your water treatment, and then with that also burn proper material. So if you take harder woods like maple, pine, tamarack, stuff like that, those are going to give you your optimal BTU outputs, and it's going to burn the longest, it's going to burn the most stable. Those ones, you're going to have a lot more BTUs going through it, so your house is going to be warmer longer, the boiler is going to be warmer longer. It's just going to work a lot better. But you can, with that in mind, you can burn punky wood, you can burn garbage wood. It's just not gonna, don't expect to have the same sort of efficiency as you would with a harder wood. With that being said, make sure your creosote buildup, check your damper doors and your chimney baffles. If smoke all of a sudden just overwhelmingly comes out of the boiler like that out to the front door while you're burning, that means there's going to be some creosote buildup inside that rear chimney baffle out in the back there. So just make sure that you've got all of that looked after. Your temperature's up at up at 150 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's going higher than that, double check your Aquastat settings if you have a used one, or even your limit switch if something's going on there. But we've got, feel free, I'd recommend check out all of our other videos on maintenance, troubleshooting, and common questions that we get with that. It's going to help you out a whole ton to do that. But from all of us here at Friesen Built, welcome to your first flame.